Okay.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to have out two of our jewels who are going to give us nuggets from Jewel School. Mandy and Jodie are going to tell us just takeaways and really a way to up level our leadership. I cannot wait. So take it away. I think Jodie, you're starting. Is that correct?
Okay, sounds good. Well, I definitely want to say that I think the Jewel School experience for Mandy and I both was something that we both were able to connect on, but it was something that it gave us a chance to level up in ways that it was way beyond anything I ever anticipated. I know that maybe I didn't know what to expect. I'll be honest. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have all the answers, that I'm this amazing jewel, but I'm going to tell you what, I was a sponge and I soaked it up and I took in everything that I could. And I know Mandy did too. And it was intense. There was so much information, but I could have stayed for hours on end just listening to these diamonds talk and give you info and tidbits and knowledge and experiences. And I will never, ever not consider that one of the best gifts that Plexus has given me ever. I mean, it was like, every bit as valuable as my college education. And I mean that seriously. It was so valuable to me. And as they continue to pour into us, still continue to do this through our leadership trainings. And this is that thing that you can look forward to. And I just am so excited that they're doing this and they're offering this for our jewels. And you have something like this to look forward to. So Mandy and I each kind of took a section that I think all of it was close to our hearts. I don't want to say closer or more dear because that's not necessarily true. Because the first thing that I'm going to talk about is kind of just going down the line is the ebbs and flows. That was something that connected with both of us. Talk about taking you to church. It was Krista Deary. And this topic may have been one of the most impactful for me because it really hit home. And it gave me the opportunity to stop and reflect on the time in my life that was far from glorious, but very powerful in my growth as a person that allowed me to become the leader that I am today. So your business will have moments of highs and it'll have moments of lows. Your business in Plexus is not going to be a straight line. I would consider it more of a roller coaster, and that's kind of how they described it to us. It's not going to grow in a linear rate. Okay, it's just not. So instead, it's going to be more like your ups and downs, and that's normal. You need to understand that's normal. Okay. But I know it's hard to believe this, but you need both. I know that sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? You need the lows, right? You do. This quote was one of my favorites by Karen Marie Moning. She's an author, and it says, "There's no point in fighting the tide. It ebbs, it flows, you ride it." And that's very powerful, very true. So I didn't understand this at the time that I was going through my low. It could, and how that could be beneficial. I mean, I knew that I grew some, but it felt like, honestly, when I reflected back before I even went to the school, I felt if I was going to be truthful, I felt like it was a waste of time. I wasted months. That's just going to be the truth. I felt like I wasted it. But when I went to Jewel School and I heard beautiful Krista Deary speak to us. And I swear she spoke right to my soul, but I guarantee we all felt that way. Okay, I guarantee we all did, because there wasn't probably a dry eye in the place. I was able to reflect and understand about that time in my life that I needed it to get to where I am today. Okay, she showed us a picture, and Mandy could probably tell you that this picture was just on a screen. It was a picture of a mountain and a valley of flowers. It wasn't spectacular. It was a beautiful picture. Beautiful. The meaning behind it, though, was powerful when she started talking about it. Totally changed my perspective of the highs and the lows, the ebbs and the flows. She explained that the mountain, as beautiful it is, magnificent as it is not sustainable for long term. It's not. You can't stay on a mountain forever. You have to come down from the mountain to the valley to get food. I mean, the people that live on the mountains to get food, they come down to the valley to get their flowers. I mean, the valley is where you go to get supplies, and then you return to the mountain. Okay, so this analogy is like our business of the ebbs and flows. And there's so much wonder in this journey, but the fruit is where it's in the valley. The fruit is in the valley. So when you are in momentum or on that mountaintop, you never want to waste that opportunity. Run with every ounce that you have, every ounce of steam you have, you run. But when you are in the valley, remember that this is normal and necessary too.
Babe, just one second. Does anybody else hear that? What do we think it is? I feel like everybody is muted. Okay. Sorry, baby. Go ahead. I'm gonna mute again.
I don't even hear it. So is it me? What noise is it? It's what?
It's a crackly noise, like a microphone crackle.
Should I turn it down?
Oh.
And turn my volume down? Is it doing it when I'm talking now?
Mm-mm.
I wonder if I should turn my volume down.
You sound like a beautiful, it's good. But then there's that in the background. So I don't know that it's you, but just continue, babe.
Okay. If this keeps going, let me know, because it may be like that I'm speaking too close to my microphone. I don't know. So anyway, you want to run with every ounce. And when you're in the valley, you want to make sure that you respect that time as well. Because these low times have purpose. It's during these low times, it was during that low time that I found my inner strength that I didn't know I had. It was during this time that I started my quiet time again. I learned how to pray for the things that I needed, the exact things actually. I learned how to ask God to remove the things that were not wanted in my life. And it was so powerful during that time for me to use that time to grow, to find systems, to become organized, to get focused on personal growth, things that I didn't know before. I focused on evaluating the gaps in my business. I worked with Sadie and coaching, and I rested. I became present with my family. But guess what? You can't do that when you're on here. So I did this time. And then when I was able to do that, rest during that time, I came out of that valley ready to run. Okay. Completely different. So I want you to understand that you have to have both. You have to have both. So use them wisely. It's one of those things when you're in momentum, go full throttle, stay humble. That was the best advice that Krista gave us. Go full throttle, stay humble. Don't waste that opportunity of momentum. When you are in the valley, make sure you're reflecting, evaluating your systems, and recharging. And this will be a process that you do over and over. And it's vital to do it over and over for for your business to actually grow. You always want to build your business from a place of inspiration, not desperation. And if you stay up at the top of the mountain at all times, you will eventually go from it'll be at a place of desperation because you'll get tired, if that makes sense. So just remember to use those times wisely. Don't just go to the valley and get lazy. Okay? That was one of the best things we could have ever talked about. So then my second part that I want to talk about, this is where I get a little passionate, is we got schooled on behavior as a jewel and cultivating culture. And you want to talk about being taken to church. I was taken to church and it meant something to me. This is where they actually put a little thing that said the price of greatness is responsibility. And I felt like I was sitting there watching Spider-Man movie again. It's very important that we take this ownership. You're going to hear over and over and over the word consistency. If someone asks me for one piece of advice that I know we hear Sadie say it, but it's true. One key ingredient is consistency. You have to be consistently consistent. It's absolutely necessary for long-term success. The results you get today are what you see today. The results you get today are the direct results of what the last 90 days were. I know we've heard this from Sadie, but every diamond said it. So it's really important every day, consistent behavior every single day. So we have to talk about culture. Culture is the backbone of any successful organization. So why? We know that people are loyal to culture, not strategy. Culture is going to eat strategy for lunch any day. Okay, it's true. Culture provides resilience in tough times. Culture provides greater discipline. It's investing in your culture. That is investing in your team's future. And so when I heard these things, I was like, okay, I know that I love to be a part of a culture, but I came back knowing I needed to create a team culture. So that was something that was weighed on my heart greatly. So then they taught us what are signs of good culture. They said, making sure that you're getting good engagement with your people, you'll start seeing higher retention when you do this. You're going to see elevated productivity. You're going to have a strong team identity when this happens. The transformational of power from team player to team player. Don't just make it about one leader. It needs to be about leaders on a team. You're going to see performers all over the place. It's going to become a healthy team environment. So behavior is a jewel, and cultivating a culture of high standards go hand in hand. No way around it. So empowering your team from the start, breathing life into them, casting visions, seeing their strengths, investing time to understand their whys are all key ingredients to making this happen. But your teams will rise and they'll fall, to meet your level of expectations here. So right from the beginning, this is where they stood up at that little platform and said, you have to set the standard. It's your job to help them learn this right as a silver ambassador. You treat them and teach them and train them to behave like a jewel as a silver ambassador. Okay. I mean, they're like, don't wait till they're ruby. Don't wait till they're emerald. Because if you do that, you have already wasted way too much time. You want to protect, this is literally the phrase they use. You protect that culture like a mama bear. You protect that culture like it's a cub, and you look at it and you protect it. And if you don't, it will slip. I'm sitting there like this. Okay. I mean, it's true though. This is what I heard Sadie saying in live today. They said, we're humans, we're messy, we're emotional. We are not tacos. We will not make everyone happy. Yeah. You teach your people to go to their uplines. You teach your people to be positive. Nothing negative is ever going to be allowed. We are training jewels from the moment they walk into our lives, because we believe that they are destined to be jewels. And that's how we do this. We set the standard, we place it on them, we hand it to them, we teach them this. And if you do this, you'll be so far ahead of the curve when you're running an Emerald team. So we have lots of ideas for building culture. Obviously, you know, our team Zooms, our encouragement calls, having why connections, welcome calls, vision strategies, trainings. But don't forget how powerful it is to have those in-person connections. This is where I fail sometimes. I'm not sitting here saying that I have it all. I still am working on, I meet with Sadie all the time and I say, okay, this is what I want to work on. This is my goal. I'm sitting here being truthful. We're still working on this stuff. My goals are to have more in-person events for my area around here. One of the things that my group around my table was like, they talked about having bowling nights. They go do mini golf together. They have a potluck team dinner. How fun is that? I was like writing all these things down, going, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. They had a movie night, like once every 6 months. I mean, really, the kids had a movie downstairs, the moms had a movie, or whoever upstairs. But it's times like this that you're able to discern who's ready to move with you. Who's ready to lock arms with you? So as leaders, you love everyone well, but you sometimes have to have those tough conversations as well as the fun ones. What do I mean by that? You can cast vision for all the people, but sometimes people aren't ready to catch the vision yet. Why? How do I know that? Sadie cast that vision for me for several years, and I wasn't ready to catch it till I was ready to catch it. Okay, so it's true. Some people are not ready to catch that vision, and you can discern that. But the truth is, maybe it's not their time, but we can learn to watch their feet, their actions, not just their words.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I love everything you're saying, but what I want to express is that if you see that in somebody,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what the timing is,
Mm-hmm.
you still keep loving them.
Absolutely.
Even if they don't know how to love themselves in that moment, you keep loving them. It's very, very important. So go ahead. I just wanted to say that, like, just because they're not moving when you want them to move, it doesn't mean that they're not going to come around later and change your business. Jodie is an Emerald ambassador on our team, right? And she had to get to that space, right? Same thing with Mandy, right? She had to be ready. she had to step into her, certain types of leadership, like, but they were worth it the whole time. And each of you are worth it. Doesn't matter what your rank is, right? You had to get to that space where you were saying yes. So I'm done.
And that's great. One of the things that they taught us is to, if you're personally coaching these people, this is why it's so important to have connection with their why, and just ask them for their permission to readdress. Is it okay if I readdress your why with you at a later date? Is it okay if I ask you about this at another time? Ask them for their buy-in, because you're always, as she was saying, you're asking from a place of servant leadership and love. You are always their friend. You are always their leader. You're always serving with love. So always say, listen, is it okay if I readdress this at a later date with you? You're not giving up on them. Okay. So my final advice for those who want to transition into mindset about becoming a jewel, this was my final little, we have to lose the renter's mindset. What? That's what I was like, what? You're responsible for your business, and we have to start using an owner's mindset. So there's two statements that will keep you from an owner's mindset. Number one, I already knew that. And the second statement is, if blank would blank, then I could blank. Nope. Owners, we cannot think that way. We have to be willing to learn, take ownership, identify barriers in our business, and grow. So ideas of building culture are your social and team building events. They're the Zooms, they're all of those things. But, we can go through all that. We can do all that. But unless we are willing to look at our business, take ownership, stop using those statements, and finally switch our mindset, use the statement instead that says, what can I do to inspire action for myself right now? Right now. And when you switch your mindset from renting your business to owning your business, when you're willing to start looking at your own leaky roof, and it's not somebody else's leaky roof, you are going to start growing. Can you tell we were taken to school? Yeah, there wasn't anybody. They didn't let us look at anybody else to the left or the right. They made us look at ourselves. I mean, they all said, you belong here, but you are exactly where you are because you are where you are. I appreciated everything I learned. So those are some of the tidbits that I walked away with thinking, if I could share this today, it might be really beneficial.
Thank you, my friend.
So, you're welcome. Mandy, do you have anything you want to add to all that drama that I just did?
You took us to church, Mama. I loved every second. And that it was just so impactful. Every single minute there was just like a new, whoa. It was like a new whoa, because you're already kind of like flabbergasted that you're rubbing shoulders with these people you've shared testimonies on for the last 5 years. And then you're like, damn, there's Jenna. There's Jenna. Oh my God. Like these celebs in Plexus land. And you're sitting at the table with them and they're telling you their struggles or what their hurdles were. The relatability and just the top notch that this company is, it just took me to a whole nother level of just conviction of what we have here. And it made me so proud of our team and all that Sadie has created for us, the systems that we have in place here, because we would look around, and you're not supposed to compare, but there were people that were completely lost in their systems games. Like, well, what do you mean by, well, what's a wellness community? Well, where are you guys doing? How are you sharing? What is your focus? How do you do that? And we're set up for success here. So some of the things that I'm going to talk about are leading with consistency, which I know Jodie touched on too, but this is a different type of topics. So she talked about leading with consistency, like showing up, but I'm going to talk about some of the things that they told us we should do to stay consistent. Obviously, mindset's tied into that. Loving the people you lead, because this is a relationship business, and then service to others. And I'm sure I'll get off on tangents because that's just what I do, because I didn't prepare like Jodie, because I'm not her. I told her this morning, I'm like, what are my topics again? She's got it all, spreadsheeted out. And I'm like, okay, I guess I should get that receipt out of my car door that I was taking notes on. But anyway, I'm starting to really check myself and change up my system since coming back. I'm trying to be more like Jodie. But we talked about emotional intelligence. That was something that I thought was really, really impactful for me personally, because I lead with an Enneagram 8. So sometimes my first emotion is anger. If somebody's not doing what I think they should do, if somebody's not showing up the way I think they should show up. And what they told us is to identify characteristics of a leader as being somebody that's self-aware. Well, is it positive to be angry at first? No. It's okay to feel angry at first, right? But then it's okay to say, well, why would she feel that way? Maybe she feels this way because this, and this. It's all about being compassionate and understanding and having empathy. And the 4 quadrants of that are self-awareness, social awareness, relationship management, self-management. It all ties into emotional intelligence. So they broke it all down and they walked us through feeling an emotion, right? And how you interpret it and how it impacts your action and the way your team receives you. So if you're being a big baby because somebody didn't do what you asked them to do, and you don't want to pivot and transition into the better version of yourself, and you're like huffy puffy, you're going to blow the house down, people are going to fizzle out. It's going to be like the fireman came spraying down their fire because they don't want to hear what you have to say. You're not their boss. You're just supposed to lead them and guide them and inspire them by being a good leader, right? And a good leader is understanding, compassionate, and wants to guide that person properly. So they talked about the ability to be courteous and just knowing that what you do, your team will magnify. So if you're pouting and you just bought a house in Pity Party Estates, then every one of your downline is going to go ahead and pack their bags, and they're going to just join you. And then you're going to have a big group of wet blankets that nobody wants to snuggle with, because nobody wants to like cuddle up to somebody that's just like unattractive and their vibe is nasty, right? So they talked about having a positive, impactful energy that people gravitate towards. And that is going to be what you want your team to magnify. So we impact others, whether we're positive or negative. You might not think that you have any pull, any weight. You might have negative self-talk out the wazoo. Well, you're going to get whatever you think. So if you're feeling doom and gloom and pouty, best advice I could give you is pick up a book that brings you joy, reset, be what you want to receive. And then you're going to get those types of people and that type of energy. It's all about our inner dialogue and what we're telling ourselves. And that becomes the action behind everything. So it's just really, really amazing because they talked about being transparent, adapting, having initiative, but most importantly, having optimism. And being self-aware allows us to observe our emotions, feel them. We can get pissed, we can get upset, we can get sad, we can feel it, but then choose to show up the way you would receive and want to have somebody come to you if you are going through the same type of situation. We're all a melting pot of personalities. Not one of us is the same. So we're not going to lead the same with every single person. We're supposed to be a chameleon and guide with love. That's the ultimate. So it said, before you're tempted to react, stop. S, are these emotions serving me? T, are these thoughts true? O, am I overreacting? P, where's the proof that this thought is true? And they left us feeling like, whoa, baby. Oh man, how many times have I been a stinker?
Okay, I love that. Can you like put that in our team page? Cause that,
Yeah,
please.
I
Love you.
totally can. I totally can. So it says emotional intelligence allows us to manage ourselves so we can grow other people. We are the gardener and we're growing ourselves at the same time. So it's like a multi-purpose thing here. And when you become the jewel and you behave like the jewel, you can't act like a big baby about things anymore. And you're not going to get in pissing matches over things that are really insignificant in the grand scheme of things. You have to show up without getting your panties in a pinch over little bitty baby things. And I just thought it was really cool to like hit on these topics because so often you just get in the mode where you're just going. And sometimes you'll respond to somebody without compassion and you're not their boss. And I don't even want to call this a volunteer army because that doesn't suit me well. I feel like we're just all we're linking arms and we're walking together. It's a big group. It's a huge friendship. That's what this is. But our duty is to inspire people by our actions and the way we treat them. And it says, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And it's totally true because once we know ourselves, we can spread the love. We can be the leader. We can show them how to be the leader. And it actually makes people want to come along with you if your energy is positive and you're happy and you mean good. And you are going into it like this is a friendship forever. You know, it's a friendship forever. If your actions inspire other people to dream more, to learn more, to do more and become more, you are a leader, right? And that's the ultimate goal because then you have lifers. When people see the good, feel the good, love the energy, you praise them, you're helping them heal, retention happens. Wow, it's magnificent. It's like magnificent. It's magic, not really, but it feels like magic because then everybody wants to be in your presence and they want to have a piece of what you got. So it's a trickle-down effect into absolutely everything that we do. It says an emotionally intelligent leader can inspire others to achieve success through social awareness and relational management. So it takes work. This is not going to be easy, but it's going to be simple and it's going to be worth it. And nobody gets to the top by sitting back. Everybody has to like get in there and get dirty. Like Jodie said, dig into the soil. That was like one of the most impactful topics was just how she just stressed the fact that nobody can survive in the mountain for long periods of time. That's designed for a momentum push. It's designed for us all charging for one vision, one goal. But the real work happens down in the valley. That's where the personal development happens. That's where we get ugly and messy and it's not pretty, but it brings beautiful harvest, magnificent things, amazing goals hit in the valley. It just struck major chords with me. And the picture was just like, it still stands out in my mind. I don't think I'll ever forget it because it was like those tulips in Holland. You know what I mean? Like just vivid and bright and amazing. But it was down in the valley. And she just talked about that. It was just so wonderful. And that lady's voice, she's like a storyteller. I could just like listen to her all day long. She had like a soothing voice. So it said to recognize the needs of others through empathy and service, servant leaders, predict the outcomes of certain behaviors and weigh decisions before actions and before words. Don't run your mouth. Feel it first. Stop, collaborate, and listen. You know what I mean? We got to stop before we get all reactive and then explore ways to increase relational awareness to inspire high performance. So if your actions inspire others, like I said, to dream more, learn more, do more, become more, then you are really a leader. That means you are allowing people to feel your energy and they want to have what you have. You're not forcing them. You're not dragging them. Genevieve kept on stressing the fact that in the beginning, you're like, yeah, come on, everybody jump in my boat. I can't wait. It's got to be a party. I mean, that's how I felt. I was like, come everyone, welcome. Yes, yes, yes. And then it starts to get pretty tiring when you're the only one doing the work. Nobody's rowing with you, but you're like, yeah, okay, guys. All right, I'm spinning in circles now. When's somebody else going to grab that oar? And they don't. And you're like, man, she kept on saying, all right, heifers, it's time to pull your weight. Same thing with this business. If they aren't ready, you've cast the vision with them, but they don't take it. They don't take the oar yet. Love them where they're at, but please don't force them, because that's going to burn them out too. Not everybody grows at the same speed. I can't tell you how many years Sadie was like, you should just quit that day job. Go ahead, just quit that. I was like, okay. Oh, no. And then it was like, finally, I got fed up myself. You have to feel it. Your person has to feel it. You can't convince anybody to seek an adventure they don't want to feel for themselves. They don't want to do for themselves. They don't want to go on their own. They have to be motivated to do it. And it's really important to be transparent up front with people, let them know the work that it's going to entail, because this isn't cake. You know what I mean? I feel like so often in the beginning, it was like, oh yeah, it's going to be so easy. We're all going dining. No, we're not. You know why? Because you're exactly where you deserve to be. If you aren't working, if you aren't stepping out of your comfort zone, if you aren't showing up, if you aren't being the best version of yourself, you don't deserve the rewards. So ask yourself, am I showing up? Am I loving people right? Am I following up with my team? Am I doing the daily steps? Am I doing my IPA? Am I doing my stories? They talked about consistency. Are you creating personal impact producing activity? Are you making an impact? Are you making it fun? Are you focusing on what brings you joy? Or does it feel like it's monotonous and it's stale as a box of crackers? Is everybody around you kind of like, man, this is funky. I think this needs to be pitched. This is getting old. Know when you're stale, because nobody wants to join somebody that's stale, right? And then they talked about loving the people you lead through relationships, friendships, deep connections, and all of that is enveloped in our awesome supplements and healing. And then that means quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, praise, just loving people the way they need to be loved. And you're going to know based on the relationships that you have with these people. And then the last thing I want to hit on is service to others. We want to love people well. And we want to pay attention to every single person in our team, from the person that just started and hasn't even reached their first rank to the person that hasn't re-ranked in 5 years because they have head trash. We love everybody the same. And if we love everybody the same, they all feel special. And that also creates a team, a culture that you want. Because then even if they're not doing anything except taking supplements from you, you're impacting their life through healing. It just becomes this amazing space where they feel comfortable and safe. And you never know. Now with the referral program, they can lead you to something, right? That's all I got, girls. I was just winging it with mine, Jodie. I loved yours. You had the teacher mentality. I was kind of like, here we go. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, like I am just so thankful that we have these amazing leaders that have been taught. Okay, by the way, FOMO on that Jewel school. Like I went, but it wasn't like that. Okay, I'm just
They're talking about doing schools for different ranks.
I think that is incredible.
And
I
I
really
wish
do.
they would have had it from the beginning. But if you think about the way this has evolved, so at first it was like, oh, you got a notebook and you could read what silver was. Then they came out with a video, right?
Right.
Then they start, it's like it's escalating to awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that they're going to be really thankful that they put in that energy and that time, to just, collaborating internally, but then also just allowing that greater understanding. But you guys, we got the best of the best. Do we not? I mean, seriously, like, I'm like, oh, they're so good. They're so mesmerizing the way that they train. I just love it. So, does anyone have questions? Obviously we're like all in the same web of love. So yes, Molly.
Hey, Mandy, will you go over the letters and what they stood for again? I know Sadie wanted you to write it, but
Yeah, I'll
Take
get
a
it
note,
and I'll print
girl.
it to you.
Oh, God love you.
Well, if I can find it, it's in here somewhere. They gave us this packet, which it's gonna be like the Bible. It's gonna be kept forever and cherished because it's so many nuggets are in here.
Who decides when you go? Like let's say you make Emerald now, then when do you get to go?
I'm not sure how they do that. Do you know, Sadie? I don't know how they do it. We just got like an invitation one day and I was like,
Yeah.
Like, is there one a year? Is there like, that's what I'm trying to
The
figure
one
out.
that the girls went to was very large because the one that I went to is the very last one. So that was in February of 2020. We all know what happened right after that. And it's so weird to look back at those pictures and just look at like the women in that room that like we literally had no clue that so many of us were going to have our businesses explode. So many of us were going to have different experiences. And like, I really look at that kind of thing. And it's just like, we had no idea. But prior to that, it was typically, I think, a couple times a year. This is a weird experience that I had, but I could have had the chance to go in March of 2019. No. 18. When did I go? Anyway, I had to end up canceling. I registered for it, didn't work for me. But what I think they're transitioning to, and this is what the girls have both shared with me, is this larger than life experience where there's a lot of, I loved my experience. It wasn't like this, you know.
Are
And so-
diamonds there?
Yeah, I think so. So the whole idea, and you girls tell me if this is wrong, but there's a leadership excellence 1.0 and then a 2.0. So you go to that first one, the first opportunity, and then there is an elevated experience. So like right now, I would get to go to 2.0 because I had gone to 1.0. Doesn't necessarily matter about the rank, but you're not invited until you're an emerald. Does that make sense?
Do they pay for you to go, or do you pay for you to go?
they pay for the hotel. You just have to pay for airfare, and that's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
Buy the meals, I think, except for what meals we have to buy. No, they gave us,
They gave us breakfast every day
I feel like we had breakfast
and lunch.
dinner every day.
And it sounds
It
like
was a
you're
working lunch. Remember,
Yeah.
it was a
this
working
degree,
lunch.
like this entire degree, like Jodie said, for
Mhm.
the price of airfare.
It was
and-
intense. It was a working lunch and
You guys, I'm
It
gonna
was
stop this.